I want to thank one of my subscribers, a guy who always spits the truth when it comes to Michael Jordan and his nearly insurmountable legacy as the greatest player of all time. Only a couple players I think could even contend with him as the greatest player of all time. Certainly not LeBron James. Definitely at this particular time. Now let me go. Let me say this before I go further into this video. Now, I did make a video saying that LeBron James was on his way. Emphasis was on his way to becoming the greatest of all time, or something like that, right? And what I was saying in that video, maybe I should have titled it differently, but that was just to draw people in. But what I basically was saying was, decades from now, when all of us are gone, and there's a new generation of people assessing both players, there may come a different opinion about these guys. You see what I'm saying? Like, just like 30 years ago, if you asked the average boxing fan who the greatest fighter of all time was, they all would have said Sugar Ray Robinson. Just about. They would have said Sugar Ray Robinson. You ask that question now, most people say Muhammad Ali, even though Muhammad Ali would tell you that he was not the greatest boxer of all time. There's different reasons why people bring up Ali. Sugar Ray Robinson has become almost forgotten by non-boxing fans. Even some boxing fans have forgotten him. You see what I'm saying? Now, Michael Jordan will never be forgotten, but it just may be possible that people might view them differently than the way we view them now. That's all I said in that video. But anyway, do I think that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan? Hell no. Do I think he ever could become better than Michael Jordan? That'll always be open to interpretation. It'll never be definitive. It'll never be definitive in the way that people view Michael Jordan as the greatest player of all time. It'll always be debatable. I think at best a slim chance LeBron has at rivaling Michael. That's the best he can do. The absolute best. Everything has to go his way. His body has to hold up. You know, he has to win multiple more championships, a couple more MVPs, and I think he might rival him, but he'll never supplant him. But Shannon Sharpe doesn't think so. No, Shannon Sharpe doesn't think this. Shannon Sharpe thinks that LeBron James will probably, has a chance at supplanting Michael Jordan, the greatest player of all time. And these are his thoughts. Quote, if LeBron won 3 straight titles, would he pass Jordan? Yes. So, by winning 6 championships, that don't mean he'll pass Michael. Kareem has 6 championships. John Havlicek have 8 championships. Sam Jones have, 10 championships. Bill Russell has 11. And no one calls in these players the greatest player of all time. It's more than titles. It's impact. It's cultural significance. Barack Obama even said something when he awarded Michael Jordan. I think it was the Congressional Medal of Honor last month. There's a reason why people say so-and-so is the Michael Jordan of this, the Michael Jordan of golf, Tiger Woods, the Michael Jordan of auto mechanics, the Michael Jordan of carpentry, the Michael Jordan of rocket science, the Michael Jordan of brain surgery, the Michael Jordan of whatever. His greatness has become part of the American fabric. LeBron James is not that big a cultural icon. He's not reached the heights that Michael have. I believe he'll win the regular season MVP this year. Well, it's a possibility, but I think Russell Westbrook right now is the leading candidate for that. You saw what happened the other game, the last game, when Russell Westbrook got ejected from that game. The Thunder completely fell apart in that game. Fell apart completely. Totally behind. There's no player right now in the league more integral to his team's success than Russell Westbrook against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I think that Westbrook right now is a contender, the leading contender for MVP. James Harden is also a contender. Another outside shot guy is Kawhi Leonard. He has a chance. I believe he'll be the MVP of the next two finals. So, I mean, that's assuming a lot, though. LeBron James turns 32 years old today, if I'm not mistaken. And let's go back to 2010. Kobe was just shy of 32 years old when he won his fifth title. And people were saying, Kobe has a chance to tie Michael next season. That'll be another three-peat. Kobe will have two three-peats. One with Shaq, one with Bynum and Gasol. And, he'll eventually pass Jordan scoring. Is he going to be the greatest player of all time? Could he win another MVP next year? Yada, yada, yada. And what happened? The Lakers got swept by the Mavericks the next season. Kobe then starts having an array of injuries, which totally took away his explosiveness, and then his skills began to diminish. And while Kobe, in my opinion, is a top 15 all-time player, some people have him as top 10. I have no problem with that whatsoever. No one will ever, unless you're an extreme fanboy, thinks that Kobe's the greatest player of all time, or even in the top 5. I think Charles Barkley has him as top 5, but whatever. So that would give him 5 regular season MVPs, 5 final MVPs. Also, he'd be the top 5 in scoring if that were to happen. Well, like I said, Kareem has 6 regular season MVPs. I don't remember how many finals MVPs Kareem has. I should know that. I think it's something like 3? 2 or 3. And of course, he's the all-time leading scorer. I mean, that is a remarkable resume and accomplishments that he would have if he were able to do that. And like I said, I think LeBron's a top 5 all-time player. But the thing about, if LeBron were to do that, is it doesn't take away the choke jobs that he's done in the past. It doesn't. I'm sorry, but they did get swept by the San Antonio Spurs 2007. People like to say, well, it doesn't count. Yada, yada. It does count. It counts. It counts. And even if you use the argument, well, he was young, he didn't, look, they got to the finals. And they were blown away. Okay? I think they held LeBron to something like 22 points per game on less than 40% shooting from the field. I can't remember the exact numbers. 2011, though, was the ultimate choke job. It was probably the greatest choke job of any so-called superstar in NBA Finals history, bar none. So much so that I remember Bruce Blitz, who's a friend of mine. I haven't talked to him much, but I remember Bruce Blitz lately. But Bruce Blitz one time told us in the podcast that he was so what's the word I want to look for? He was so appalled by LeBron James's performance that he refused to call him the best player in the NBA for several months. And I didn't blame him for that. That's how disgustingly this horribly insignificant his performance was in the finals that year. I think he scored something like almost 10 points fewer per game in the finals than he did in the regular season. He totally didn't want to be. That was the series that cemented him as a choke artist and a front runner. Okay, when the pressure got to him, when the pressure gets to LeBron, many times and oftentimes he chokes. He needs someone else there as a backup. He needs someone else to lead the dance. Oftentimes, we even seen the finals last year when Kyrie Irving, We saw it just Christmas with Kyrie Irving yet again. Kyrie Irving is the killer on that team. Kyrie Irving is the go-to guy when it comes down to the line to take the shot, not LeBron. LeBron has great games, but Kyrie Irving is the go-to guy. He's the clutch shooter. He's the killer on that team. He's the guy that I was seeing that Steve Kerr strategically took Stephen Curry off because he know he can't fucking guard him. He's the guy that made Klay Thompson look stupid when he hit that fadeaway jumper in the post, in the paint, to seal the deal. 109, 108. He's the guy that hit the killer three over Stephen Curry, the one the Cleveland Cavaliers a championship. He's the guy that had a couple of 40-point games, was born to him to be discussed as at least co-MVPs in the finals last year. But it gave all the glory to LeBron. Let's move on. Reason number 2, which I think goes unnoticed. He broke up the Detroit Pistons. Who? LeBron? LeBron broke up the Pistons? Nigga, are you crazy? He didn't break up the Pistons. The Pistons got old. The Pistons got old. Yes, he had a great series in 2007. That's one of the greatest games of all time. But the Pistons just naturally got old. He didn't break up a team. Because remember, the Pistons, if anything, if you want to give credit to a team that broke up the Pistons, it was the Celtics, if I remember correctly, that upset the Pistons in the 2007 NBA Final. 2007, what was it, the conference finals? It was the Celtics. Not LeBron. Excuse me, not 2007, 2008. 2008. They were the ones that pretty much extinguished the Pistons from Eastern Conference supremacy. Because you got to remember, it was no real dominant team per se. Because you had the Pistons, you had the big three and Celtics that just emerged, who become the dominant franchise. But before them, you had the Pistons and you had the Pacers. And you had Miami, okay, who had just won a title in 2006. And I believe Miami beat the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Final. My memory fades a little bit, but I think they beat them in the Eastern Conference Final. So the Pistons were always there. LeBron didn't break that team. If anything, it was the Celtics. Because after that year, that's when that team really started breaking up. But don't give him credit for that. That's bullshit. He broke up the big three in Boston, ran out of town. Bullshit! Bullshit! They used to beat LeBron like he was their fucking, they were his fucking daddy and uncle. Grandpa Garnett used to whoop his ass, spank his ass. Danny Ray Allen used to hit threes all over these motherfuckers. Paul Pierce shooting threes over him. Come on, man. What the fuck is this shit? He didn't break that team up. Don't smile at me like that. You know it's bullshit. Come on, man. He didn't break that team up. How many times have they beaten that team? If anything, my friend, Mr. Sharpe, I have most respect for you, but you're wrong here. If anything, Boston was a team which ran LeBron out of Cleveland down to Miami because he couldn't beat that team. And he knew it. So that's why he ran down to Miami and formed that big three. Don't do this revisionist bullshit with me. Bullshit. He broke up Oklahoma City's big three before it could even get started. Oh, boy. So you're talking about James Harden, Durant, and Westbrook. You're talking about a team. Durant was what? 5 years into the league. Westbrook, 4 years. Harden, what was that, his second year in the league? Like, come on. And by that time, LeBron had been in the league, what, 9 years? The same amount of time it took Michael Jordan to win his first title. I mean, James Harden leaving OKC had nothing to do with LeBron. Nothing. it came down to a question of money. If I'm not mistaken, it came down to a question of money and perhaps him, wanting a bigger role in the offense. But, okay, he beat the all-time greatest regular season team in NBA history, 73-9. He beat them, came back down for 3-1 to do it. No, he did not do it by himself. I already addressed that. Kyrie Irving was magnificent in many of those games. LeBron had some great games too. I credit him. It was both of them. Especially, what was it, Game 6, when both of them had like 40 points in the same game? I think it was that game. But Kyrie Irving looked like Isaiah Thomas, Nate Tiny Archibald out there. I mean, he was just going at him, really reminiscent of Isaiah Thomas. Not the Boston Celtics, but the Detroit Pistons great. I mean, he looked magnificent against Stephen Curry. That's the performance that made many people think, well, damn, Stephen Curry, he shit on defense. Kyrie Irving was the guy that made Stephen Curry look like bullshit out there. And like I said, who was the guy that hit the championship winning shot? Was it LeBron or was it Kyrie? Don't give people blanket achievements or accomplishments or sole credit for things that were a team achievement. And I understand what you're saying. If a guy scores 40 points, he should get most of the credit. But it wasn't just LeBron. That's the thing. And LeBron kind of, this is like, this is like sour grapes on my part. But if LeBron had missed both of those free throws when he was fouled at the end of the game, and if they had hit a three, that game would have went to overtime. He did make one, so that pretty much iced the game. But I'm just saying. Michael Jordan, before he got Scottie Pippen, never won a playoff series. Okay, here we go with this shit. 1985 playoffs, Michael Jordan played the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, before you young guys laugh, the Milwaukee Bucks, in my opinion, was the best team in the NBA in the 1980s not to make it to the NBA Finals. And I'll say it again. The Milwaukee Bucks was the best team in the NBA during the span of the 1980s not to make it to the NBA Finals. If I'm not mistaken, the year that they played the Bulls, Milwaukee won 59 games, I think. The Bulls had won 38 games. The Bulls were still able to win one game against a spectacular Milwaukee Bucks team, which featured two-time Defensive Player of the Year winner Sidney Moncrief, if I'm not mistaken. Check out that team if you think I'm like lying about it. The team was talented. Also, the year before Michael joined the Bulls, the 83-84 season, the Bulls won 27 games. Michael Jordan joins the team, they win a net 11 games, 38. Now, you tell me, how many teams have such an improvement from a perimeter player? Now, you can name Bird and Dave Robinson and centers, but name me a guard who comes on a team and they improve that much. And don't just nitpick and say, well, such and such. Yeah, but who else joined the team? Was it another great player? Was it another good player? When Michael Jordan joined the Bulls in 84-85, they went from 27 wins to 38 wins. That was because of Michael Jordan. You rarely see a perimeter player have that type of impact on a franchise. That's why Michael Jordan was playing. They used to call him the Shaq of shooting guards, or Superman. Now, you might say something about, well, what happened to Cleveland when LeBron left? Well, LeBron, they went from 61 wins to 19 wins. Well, yes, they did fall significantly behind, significantly because of LeBron. But you have to remember something too. You revisionist nutballs. You have to remember something. Not only did LeBron leave, Mike Brown was fired. Mo Williams missed most of the season. And various other players, I think even Anderson Varejao, all had significant injuries throughout the entire season. It was a dismal season. So it wasn't just LeBron. There was injuries they had to deal with, a coaching staff change. That team was in disarray for a couple of seasons. Whereas when Michael Jordan retired in 93, the coaching staff was the same. Scottie Pippen was entering his NBA prime. The nucleus of the championship Bulls were already coming on board. The old guys were going out, John Paxson and Bill Cartwright, the guys that Jordan had to fucking lug around and carry to a championship in 93, which is probably the weakest championship team of all the six. And that's why the Bulls won only two fewer games in 94 than 93. It was a remarkable coaching job. The Bulls slowed down their pace, and they won a lot of games. They won a lot of close games due to their defense that year. A lot of 1-point wins, 2-point wins, 3-point wins, 4-point wins. There are a lot of close games that could have gone either way. That team could have easily have lost, instead of 27 games, 40 games. They could have. But they overachieved that year. Much so. And it's the case of Scottie Pippen should have won the MVP award that year, 93-94. Let's go forward. Let's go more. Let's go on. Okay. Got swept by the Big Three in Boston. Well, what whoop they fucking do? Michael Jordan misses 64 games, 85-86 season. Comes back and barely makes the team eligible for the fucking playoffs. And then he goes against the greatest front line in NBA history, McHale, Bird, and Parrish. A team that won 67 regular season games. Larry Bird wins his third consecutive MVP award. The best team in the fucking NBA. And they get swept. Oh, well, how embarrassing is that? What about the fact that Jordan scored 63 points in game 2, coming off a 49-point game, and it was his performance alone which nearly fucking let them beat Boston, the Boston Garden, a team that only lost one fucking game there, and they nearly lost to an 8th seed there because of his fucking performance, the performance that was so legendary it put him on the map with all-time greats. Are you fucking kidding me? Yes, he lost to them in 86. Yes, he lost to the defending NBA champions in 87. He got swept. 3-0. But you're talking about the Boston Celtics. What are you talking about? That's like if a superstar now came into the league and he played for the Sixers and they were the 8th seed and they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Where's the shame in that? What are you talking about? It'd be different if you said he was the 1st seed and they lost to an 8th seed or a 2nd seed and a 7th seed. What the fuck are you talking about, Shannon Sharpe? You keep talking about how great he was. We're talking about Skip. But how great was he without Scottie Pippen? Very fucking great. Let's see. Rookie of the Year. 37 points per game. A fucking scoring sensation. A defensive stalwart. Technically, Pippen was on the team, but Pippen wasn't really starting. 87, 88. Defensive Player of the Year at age 24, 25 years old. I think he was pretty fucking good. Averaging 35 points per game. Scoring 50 points on anybody. A highlight fucking sensation. He's the guy that really revolutionized ESPN, became what ESPN is now. Yeah, I think he was fucking great, Shannon Sharpe. I think it was a guy by the name of Bob Cousy, a guy who's been around in the NBA since 1950, okay? A guy who's been around since 1950 This is a guy who a couple of years earlier was saying that Larry Joe Bird was the greatest basketball player he had ever seen. Right? 84, 85, he was saying that. Within 2 years, he was saying Michael Jordan was the greatest player he ever seen. Jerry West was saying Michael Jordan was one of, if not the greatest player he ever seen. All-time legends who have a tendency to be very protective of their own generation were saying Michael Jordan was the greatest player they ever seen. Yeah, you had your Oscar Robertsons, who say shit like, I wonder how you're doing under our rules. But more often than not, you got guys who are saying Michael Jordan was an all-time great, if not the greatest player they ever seen. And this was during the 1980s, before the championships. Don't pull this revisionist bullshit on me because it will not work against me. He was this guy who put up a lot of stats. He was Russell Westbrook before Russell Westbrook was, because all he did was accumulate stats. Well, what was LeBron doing in Cleveland before he won? Accumulating stats. What does that mean? What was accumulating stats? Bill Russell was accumulating stats that weren't counted, by the way, blocks. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was accumulating stats. Kobe was accumulating stats. Everybody accumulates stats. What are you talking about? And even when he got Scottie Pippen, lost to the Pistons 3 straight times. Oh, my God, man. These people act like Scottie Pippen was coming into the NBA beasting. Okay? Scottie Pippen was not a highly touted player. Okay? He was not a highly touted player. If memory serves me correctly, and I might be wrong, he was drafted by Seattle, but his rights were sent to Chicago in exchange for Olden Polynice. Olden Polynice. Does that name strikes any bells as far as Hall of Fame status is concerned? No, it's not. It's not a Hall of Fame name. Okay? Scottie Pippen wasn't a starter like LeBron James coming into the NBA. Michael Jordan created Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen was fucking created was criticized, for being soft and for getting his ass kicked by the Pistons. Those Pistons series, plus Michael Jordan, made Scottie Pippen into an all-star. Michael Jordan made Scottie Pippen, not the other way around. And while we're at this, who the fuck was LeBron's teammates when he fucking won? You talk about Michael Jordan had to have Scottie Pippen. Who the fuck did LeBron have to have? Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love. He has to have fucking multiple All-Stars to win. Class is dismissed, motherfucker.